welcome back to another wrap up. This one is a little bit late because I'm giving you some of my thoughts in my wrap up from the month of February. I couldn't give you that, and I thought, you know what, let me catch up when there's still a bit of time in the year. If you follow me on social media, you would have seen that I posted my quick wrap up where I read two books being the Toni Morrison Beloved book, and I also read Timbuktu, which is a selection of the Caine Prize African writing stories. So let's get into these books and I'll tell you all about my thoughts and try to recollect as much as I can from a month or 2 months ago. Cool. Let's start with Timbuktu. So like I said, so this is the cover, by the way, how stunning. Like I said, this is a selection of writings from the Caine Prize from the year 2001. Bit of the I guess some of the praises that the book has. One of them goes, "It is not easy to hold a mirror to the legacies of our painful past and present." And as Ben Okri says, to see Africa, one must first see oneself. Tenderfoot holds up a mirror beautifully, tenderfully, and mercifully. Tenderfoot seems to be the first anthology to win the Caine Prize. Another one goes, "These stories will bring Africa into sharp, connecting, kaleidoscopic focus." So basically, these are a collection of short stories, and there are about 5 authors who contributed here, each with 2 stories. So that's about 10 stories in this book. It is so tiny, but I can tell you it punches quite a bit. It's about 110 pages, but the stories in here will stay with you. So one of the stories that I want to speak about, but I want to speak about the theme of the book that is comparable to when I read Beloved by Toni Morrison. So this is not my first time reading Toni Morrison. I've read Toni Morrison before. I think I might have read... Yes, God Help the Child. I read God Help the Child by Toni Morrison. I don't recall if I read The Bluest Hour. And if I don't recall, probably I didn't. But anyway, the point is I have read Toni Morrison before and I know the kind of writer she is and the kind of storyteller she is. But nothing could have prepared me for this one. This book is... firstly, it was first published in 1987. That's like a while back, right? And this particular edition that I have, I think it is from 1997. And the synopsis goes, "It is the mid-1800s. At Sweet Home in Kentucky, an era is ending as slavery comes under attack from the abolitionists. The world of Hale and Paul D are to be destroyed in a cataclysm of torment and agony. The world of Sid, however, is to turn from one of love to one of violence and death. The death of Sid's baby daughter, Beloved, whose name is the single word on the tombstone, who died at her mother's hands and who returned to claim retribution. Beloved is Toni Morrison's 5th novel and another triumph. Indeed, Miss Morrison's versatility and technical and emotional range appear to know no bounds. If there were any doubts about her stature as an preeminent American novelist, on her own or any other generation, Beloved will put them to rest." Now this book is... I don't know what genre to even classify this book. I know it is fiction, but it is giving haunted, it is giving horror, ghost stories kind of vibe. So expect that. So I'm already giving a spoiler alert in terms of expect that kind of... So it's very much fiction that touches on spiritual imagination. Are these things real or not? It's giving ghosty. But the theme that I want to touch on that ties these two books together, or at least a story from this book, Timbuktu, that is called An Event in Sao by Lilia Momple. Might be mispronouncing that name. But basically, the theme that I got from these two books that makes me think quite a bit or quite a lot about what oppression has done to Black people, what oppression has done to the African people, is the theme of choosing to not, and this actually is a theme as well in the book, Things Fall Apart. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, where under oppression and when you've been resisting, when you are resisting whatever form of oppression that's happening. I mean, in this book, it was slavery. In this book, it was also a form of slavery. Trigger word, when you choose that the ultimate solution is to depart from this earth rather than to face the oppression. It makes me think a lot about what does that say about, is that a form of love, or is it a form of, you know, say, misery, if I can put it like that. So I don't think the two are very much like a contrast or contradictory to each other. But the misery can lead to exercising a form of love that doesn't look ideal, because what does it mean to take your own life in a situation of oppression where you say, I'm choosing to depart from this earth, not because I'm sad or I'm going through whatever state of mind and heart, but only because I choose not to be a subject of this oppression. I choose not to withstand or to be a victim of such. So I would rather depart than to have to face this, especially in a time where people are comfortable to, I guess, not comfortable, sketch that, especially in a time where people resort to, accepting whatever situation that they're in, because really, what can they really do, right? So other forms of resistance can include one of which you choose to depart this earth. It is a bit of a heavy one to dissect, and I haven't fully, digested or comprehended really my thoughts on this, but it's something that I found interesting, that a form of love or a form of showing yourself love in a time of oppression where you're suppressed, when all of these systems that are anti you, are anti that the person that you are, can place you in a position where rather depart from this earth than have to face all of this. So it is an interesting theme that comes across. So it is a bit of a trigger warning. But going back to Beloved, so Beloved is even more interesting because it speaks of a mother's love. There's a quote in this book that the mother loved her children so much that she wanted to outdo the hurter. So she did what she needed to do because she wanted to outdo the hurter. So her first resort was to, I'm going to protect my child, which is an instinct of a parent. I'm going to protect my child. But that form of protection is one way we probably would, have now, with modern day understanding of things, would probably be so judgmental. But thinking about it a bit deeply, it can get to that point where if you wanted to protect your loved ones, you would do things that might look extreme to others, or might look like that shouldn't have been the resort. Okay, so I am speaking a bit like cryptic because I don't want to give away the story and exactly what happens. But in this book, we do follow Asit, and this is Sid and her child Beloved, and also there's a mother-in-law and a husband. This is during the time of slavery. They are basically I guess slaves, and we follow their lives through all the gruesome things that will happen or do happen to them, and how they try to protect themselves and how they try to live in that time. I will say that this one is a difficult read because the English here isn't like standard, school English that you learn from academia. It is giving how the African Americans would speak. So it very much needs you to focus when you're reading it, because it is a difficult read based on the fact of how it's grammatically structured, how the English is structured, or the dialect rather, and the diction that is used in this book is very, very challenging. But if you give yourself enough time, you can enjoy it. I can't recall if I gave this one a 3.5 or a 4, so it is in that range, a 3.5 to a 4, whereas in this one I think I gave it like a good 3 stars. Could be a potential 3.5, but I think it was a good average 3 stars for me. So yeah, these are my 2 reads that I read in February. Have you guys read any of these books, and what did you think about them? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys always. You will see my next monthly wrap-ups in a bit more timely manner. Thank you, my book besties, for being here. I appreciate you so much. I hope you stick around to listen to these book thoughts. I hope you stick around to rejoice. And most importantly, I hope you read a whole lot more.